I'm super excited. I would be lying to you guys if I told you I wasn't nervous. I am kind of. I mean, it is a expensive car. All right, let's start her up.
I was able to review this amazing car courtesy of Matt. He runs a YouTube channel by the name of Obsessed Garage where he fully details and tastefully modifies his personal cars such as the F10 BMW M5 and Corvette Z06 Carbon. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description below. I encourage you guys to check him out.
I gotta say guys, exterior wise, there's absolutely nothing that I dislike about this car. It's just proportioned perfectly. This is my first time seeing a GT3 RS in person, and one big surprise is how big it is. I mean, that's not an issue because I think it only weighs around 3,100 pounds. But I figured since it's so light, it's a track car, and it's only a two-seater, I don't know, I imagine it to be smaller, but that's not the case. And as you're walking around the exterior, it's really hard to ignore this massive wing. It looks amazing. Well, it looks amazing on a car like this, which actually has a function to it, unlike a Civic. When it comes to the wheels, we have 20-inch rims in the front and 21-inch in the back. I believe it's 265 with tires up front and 325 tires in the back, which is absolutely insane. I don't think I've ever seen wider tires on a production car in my life. You see how wide they are? They're freaking massive, but of course they're there to make sure it puts as much rubber on the ground as possible. And of course, it's really hard to ignore these massive brake discs and this massive caliper up front. To put it into perspective, here's my hand. And they're pretty big, I would say, and it only covers about half of the caliper. So it would take two of my hands to cover the entire caliper. That's massive. And if you weren't able to tell already, these are carbon ceramic brakes. I think that's normally a $9,000 option, and they make all the difference in the world if you're taking them around the track. And of course, since this is a pure track car, you have the center lock versus traditional bolts or studs, making it easier to swap out wheels while you're at the track. Normally you can tell the GT3 RS from the others is because it normally has like the decal that says GT3 RS right here. And these air vents in the hood look really good, but they serve as function as well. Guess what they're for? Believe it or not, these air vents funnel air all the way down to the wheels to cool down the brakes. Interesting placement, but hey, it works. And of course you get these massive air ducts here, which feeds air into the engine. The right amount of carbon fiber on this car looks really cool. You got some on the mirrors, some right here, this trim area, the top portion of the car, and of course the massive wing. It might not look like in the video, but the nose of this car is very big. Like, it really pushes out forward a lot. I'm looking at the screen of the camera right now and it kind of squishes it in a bit. I guess it compresses it, but in person this is a large front, so you always want to be careful when you drive this car that you're not getting too close to anything, because it can be misleading from the inside. One of the scariest things about driving a car like this, well, one thing that I was worried about, is that it sits so low that I'm afraid that I'm going to hit a bump or I'm going to mess up the front splitter somehow. Luckily, this car has the optional lift kit in the front that allows you to raise the front end so you can avoid whatever obstacles you're trying to avoid. You know what I find very interesting? The first thing that I noticed, that it's just the decal for the Porsche badge on the GT3 RS. So I ended up asking Matt, and he was like, oh yeah, for the RS models, they come with decals instead of badges to save weight. And then you kind of think about it, like, how much weight are you really saving by putting a decal instead of a badge? But I guess little small weight reductions such as the badge and everything else on the car, it all adds up. I've always heard that getting into a car like this is typically quite challenging, so I'm gonna actually try this out for the first time. Okay. All right, so difficulty from a scale of 1 to 10, I would say a 4. I mean, I'm used to driving a lowered car anyway, so I guess it's not that hard. But I can see putting your legs under the steering wheel and between the seat is a little bit hard, especially for those that have long legs and they're a bit taller. I'll tell you something, as rigid and bolstered as these seats are, they actually feel really nice. They hug you in place. I don't know, I feel loved. Obviously, there's not really much adjustments for these seats. I think you can only move them forward and backwards, and that's about it. I can figure out how to do that. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Forward, backwards, all the way forward and backwards. And it's all manual, by the way. But that's okay, because this is a track car. You don't need no 25-point adjustable seats with crazy adjustments and massaging functions and stuff like that. So getting into this car wasn't too hard. Let's see about getting out. Okay. I can see where it can be challenging for maybe older people that have, I don't know, more beat up body structure. But that wasn't too bad. I would give that a 4 out of 10 as far as getting out, difficulty-wise.
Here are a few things I wanted to mention, but I was too excited at the moment to remember. This is a 2019 911.2 GT3 RS, and it comes equipped with a naturally aspirated 4-liter flat 6 that produces 520 horsepower and 346 pound-feet of torque to the rear wheels. As far as braking performance goes, the discs up front have a diameter of 410 millimeters, accompanied by a 6-piston caliper. The rear discs have a diameter of 390 millimeters, along with a 4-piston caliper. Lastly, the Porsche GT3 RS has a starting price of around $187,000, and of course that's before any options. Before I drove the car, I asked Matt to show me some of the functions of the car and take me for a small ride.
So on this car, you always hear YouTube people talking about it, but they don't know jack about how this thing works. So PDK Sport does nothing, with the exception of when you're in automatic. So if I go into drive and then I go over to manual, as soon as I go to manual and I press PDK Sport, it doesn't do anything.
Really? I was under the impression otherwise.
Nope, that's what everybody says.
Everybody on YouTube says it.
So if I'm in auto, PDK Sport will keep your revs around 4,000 RPMs. I mean, this is you'll probably be actually much faster on a track in PDK Sport auto than you would in manual. But the whole point of this car, I think, is to drive in manual.
Of course.
So manual, you can shift here, you can shift here, right? So negative, positive. So downshift, upshift. So upshift, downshift. Obviously, your numbers right there. And then another cool thing about this car, if I pull the paddles, see it's blinking, I'm in neutral. The car is limited to rev. You can't rev it past 4,000 RPMs, which is dumb. Really? That's as high as you can rev in auto.
That's the case for all the GT3,
all GT3, yeah, GT3s, yeah, GT4s.
Because the GT, the GT RS, the GT2 RS, all of them is the same thing?
Any PDK car, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exhaust button, this is another common misconception. The only thing this does is opens the valve at idle. As soon as I leave the line, the valves operate the same. So as soon as I start driving, like people are like, well, I gotta turn this down when I'm driving through my neighborhood. It doesn't matter. The valves are closed under roughly 3,700 RPMs. So the only thing this button does is at idle. Otherwise, it's completely useless.
I gotta tell you, there's a lot of uninformed YouTubers out there, I'll tell you that. Holy crap.
Obviously, axle lift, you can feel the front of the car.
I was actually gonna ask you that. That's an option, right? Because that's the one thing I was really scared about driving this car is in front of it. It looks so freaking low.
It's not that. I haven't even lowered it yet. So this is bone stock. I haven't done anything yet to this car. So I'll lower it. Exhaust is sitting in my garage. The only thing it has is tint.
I feel like the only thing you need to do on this car if you want is the exhaust. Other than that, it's...
Yeah. Even then, the stock exhaust, most people just leave the stock exhaust, which is good. That's really the only quirks. Obviously, the keys on the left, that's a Porsche thing. Keys on the left, this is a Weissach package. So
that's what I was going to ask you how to pronounce that. That's Weissach. And isn't that like a very expensive package?
Yeah, it's like 19,000.
Yes, exactly.
So it's Weissach or Weissach.
No, I'm gonna get called out in the comment section for saying it wrong. Weissach.
Yeah, so just call it Weissach package. Perfect. Mine has a painted hood, so that was an option. You could do Weissach package with a painted hood. So the normal Weissach comes full carbon fiber roof, carbon fiber ring, carbon fiber hood exposed, and so this has a paint. The hood's the same regardless. Just Weissach is normally unpainted. This one's painted. So my normal drive over in the manual. Always exhaust open, even though it really doesn't matter all that much. And I'll generally I'd shift paddles most of the time. So when I come to a stop, I've just taught myself to go into neutral, because otherwise it clunks and clanks and you can hear the PDK. The cool thing about, you'll see when you get in and drive it, it's so easy to drive. Yeah. I don't even have
have words. I was gonna say something, but
so wait till I put the. You'll have to come back and review it again. The exhaust I put on this is freaking.
Sounds good though. It sounds great.
It's great.
And I see you pushing it past what, like 6,000 RPM. It's almost impossible to get a 9,000 RPM on regular roads.
Yeah, you'll see.
So this is a completely different experience for me. So I can't really compare it to anything that I've ever drove equivalent to this.
It won't. Yeah, very, very different than like a standard there. But it's still a car. You know, it's still a car. There's you'll get any drive. There's a steering wheel and and a gas pedal. Sure. But it's just a different feel. It's a different seating position. It's a different. It's hard to explain. It's just better. It's a pure driver's car, but also pretty comfortable. I mean, you could just go down at 60 gear. So notice I'm cruising. Nothing happens.
Doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So typically you said after like 4,000 RPM they open up on its own. That's how that works.
Right. So if I go down to second gear, so third,
you can see a small transition. Okay, yeah.
38. It's electronically controlled, so it'll open when it's necessary.
Okay.
Somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 RPM. So when you're driving, come down here, and there's an S curve up here, super bumpy. I have a DSC controller for this car. I have exhaust. I'll lower it a little bit, but that's really all you can do.
Okay.
I haven't detailed it yet either. This is part of the smoking package. Otherwise, this is just a cup. So you want to you want to get a smoky package on this. But this is a sport. There's sport and normal. It's a subtle difference. It's a little bit rougher.
It just tightens it up.
Yeah, but I find very rarely am I using that.
It's crazy how flat it stays.
I find that this is the Dot 2 is quite a bit more. I think this is harder to drive than the Dot 1. Unlike BMWs are going to turn this and flip that and turn this on. You just hold left foot brake, foot to the floor, hold it down, release the brake. It'll say launch control.
Alright, so now it's my turn to drive it, and I'm super excited. I would be lying to you guys if I told you I wasn't nervous. I am kind of. I mean, it is a expensive car. I've never driven a supercar. This is going to be a lot of fun. Just ignore that just happened. Alright, let's start her up. Huge thanks to Matt from Obsessed Garage for trusting me with his baby. I'm like ridiculously excited. So I've been sitting here for like 5 minutes just kind of staring at the interior because I'm just overwhelmed with excited, and I'm just like so scared to even reverse the damn car. But enough of that. I got this. It's time to get this car on the road. I'm gonna just keep it on regular automatic mode for now until I get the feel of the car, and then after I do that, then I'll put it into full manual and really try out the PDK dual clutch transmission. So just like I was saying earlier when I was walking around the car, this is a big car. Even though it's a two-seater, it feels massive. You have a very long nose at the front, which can be very misleading. Right now I'm just kind of cruising around, trying to get a feel for the car. Obviously it's my first time doing it, so I gotta take it easy. I gotta respect the car. Matt told me some roads to take here, which is they're not too congested and I can actually test out the car. So let's see how that rolls. This is freaking insane, guys. I'm driving a Porsche GT3 RS. Sorry if this review is not really as informative. I don't really know what to compare it to, and I've never driven a car like this one. So this is gonna be more of an impressions and an experience type of video. I'm just cruising at like 25 miles an hour, and you can already tell that this car is built for the track. It's a little bit rough, definitely tight on suspension. I can feel the road a lot. But I mean, car enthusiasts probably want that so they can really feel the raw driving experience. All right, let's see. This is crazy. If anything, this kind of motivates me to work really hard on my YouTube game and eventually get to the point where Matt is at, and I'll be able to afford a really nice toy like this. Okay, I think I'm ready for full manual mode. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in full manual mode. Let's see here. Oh yeah, 5th gear, 4th gear. Oh, I didn't even do much. I just brought the kid out from within me. Oh my God. I'm on 5th gear. Let me downshift to 4th. Oh my God, this is gonna be a pointless video. You guys are just gonna watch me smile and laugh the whole time. 2nd gear. Okay, so I've heard really good things about the PDK transmission. So one thing I've always read and watched on other people's videos is that the PDK transmission used on Porsche cars is among the best dual clutch transmission you can get. And I gotta say that lives up to the hype because the shifts are like instant. And unlike other cars that I've tried with dual clutch transmissions, this one is lightning quick and is buttery smooth. You can't even feel the shifts from one gear to another. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a 3rd gear pull and see how this feels. Originally, I thought I was gonna be really scared to push this car, but after driving it, I gotta say Porsche did a really good job with making the driver feel confident and comfortable, because when I'm driving at that speed, you feel like you have complete control. Of course, I have like the traction control and the stability control on, but even so. Oh man, the car really does feel like it's going much faster than what the speedometer says. All right, here's a turn. I'm gonna try this out right now. Get a little bit ballsy. Not too ballsy though. Yeah, so it stays planted for sure. I'm done. The paddle shifters on here are really solid. You get a really nice kind of clicky feedback that makes you feel engaged. Of course, this is not a traditional manual, but that's okay. It's still equally satisfying. Well, maybe not equally satisfying, but it's better than having a fully automatic car. That's one thing as well. The GT3 RS only comes with the PDK transmission. It doesn't come in manual. If you want a manual Porsche, then you're gonna have to opt in for the GT3. And the reason for that is because Porsche designed this car to have really fast lap times, and you're not gonna get faster lap times with a traditional manual versus a dual clutch transmission. I actually feel, you know, after like 15 minutes of driving this car, I actually feel quite comfortable, and I don't feel nervous anymore. This is honestly, you know, one in a lifetime opportunity, and a big thanks to Matt, because he made this happen. This has somewhat been a dream of mine to drive a supercar, and I can easily say that nobody on both sides of my family, father's side and mom's side, has ever driven a car like this, so I'll be the first one to do so, and I can share my experience with them. The downshifts are absolutely instant. Like, it happens faster than you can even like notice it happened, if that makes any sense. Of course, this is a freaking track car, and that's where it's gonna shine, not on a street road. So maybe I can get Matt to take me to the track one day so I can just ride along, so I can really see what this car is capable of when it's taken to the limits. One thing that I really wanted to do with this car is take the RPM to the red line, but it's almost impossible to do that on regular roads. Unless you're going on an on-ramp to like a freeway, then it's much easier to do it that way. Like, you're at like 6,000 RPM and it just doesn't feel right that you're revving past it, so you automatically shift. At least that's what I'm doing. You can definitely feel every single bump on the road, and that's with the suspension on regular. I haven't even changed it to the sports setting. But definitely when you put the suspension on sports setting, you can feel a small hit to the ride quality, but that's okay because it increases performance around turns and stuff like that. I gotta be careful. This is a very nasty road, and I do not want to ruin this car. Definitely not taking that way. Don't worry, man, I'm taking care of your car. I've seen that bad road and I'm not taking it. All right, so one thing I want to try out, I'm gonna go ahead and put the PDK on sport, which Matt told me only really makes a difference on automatic mode and not on manual mode. Oh yeah, oh that's fast. Oh, that's fast. And that's scary too. You know what's funny is that a lot of like non-car people, you know, you tell them a car like this is worth a little bit over $200,000, especially the way that this one is optioned. And they go, oh, why would you spend that much money on a car like this? That's too expensive. You just need a car that gets you to point A to point B. But see, they won't understand, because only a true car enthusiast can really appreciate a car like this. I mean, how can you not like this? Check this out. That is too good, guys. That is too good. Very few things in life provide the satisfaction of driving a car as spectacular as this one. All right, so I found a straightaway. Let's see what she got. And that was 9,000 RPM. Holy smokes. I'll probably never get to experience that ever again in my life.
This Porsche's interior is very attractive. It's as functional as it gets for a top-of-the-line performance car. The Alcantara wrapped steering wheel feels great in the hands and is free from any buttons traditionally found on most cars, allowing you to focus on driving. The two-tone bucket seats surprised me the most. They are extremely comfortable and do a great job of keeping you hugged around corners no matter how aggressive the drive is. You'll notice the door strap on the door panels in order to save weight, and 2 storage areas to keep things like your cell phone from flying everywhere. The analog gauges follow the simplistic theme. There is a small screen to the right of the clutch that shows track information, the map, and power graphs. I didn't play around too much with the infotainment display, but from what I can tell, it was very responsive and fluid. Practicality-wise, as you would expect from a car like this one, is very minimal. The front trunk has enough room to fit 2 large backpacks, but that's about it. When it comes to the rear, well, there is no cargo since that's where the engine is located.
Tell you something, taking turns and curves with the GT3 RS is beyond fun. This is definitely the most emotions I've ever showed on video. Not emotional like in sad or crying or anything like that, but more with lots of excitement and genuine reactions. My goal was to drive this, shoot the video on it, and for those of you guys that have never driven one and probably won't be able to drive one, you can somewhat enjoy just watching me drive it and maybe feel a tad bit of that excitement. If any of you guys are watching this video because you're looking to get a GT3 RS, sorry this probably wasn't the most informative video, but I don't have really much experience with supercars and expensive cars like that, so the most I can do is try to give you as much as I can and just give you my impressions as far as how do I feel when I drive it. If you want more technical specs and you want to hear like words from an actual owner, his experience, then you can check out Obsessed Garage. That's Matt's YouTube page, and I'm sure he has plenty of videos talking about it, and he's about to start modifying this vehicle as well very soon. So make sure to check out his YouTube page, subscribe there, and then you can hear his take on how the car is and if you should get it, if it's worth it and stuff like that. If you've ever dreamed of owning a supercar and like you're working towards that goal, try to find a way to drive one of these, and it's just gonna push your motivation to the limits. That's how I feel inside right now. All I want to do is just grind and make it happen. With the right mindset and the right dedication, anything's possible. And driving this has completely changed my mindset around, and I'm really happy for it.